A lot of the pictures you're seeing here are all very familiar, the opening music, if you've been watching any of the television coverage over the past couple of weeks with the various party conferences going on. The financial aspects of the world are very much in the forefront. Despite the background of financial gloom and impending cuts in the public sector, this gathering of activists for learning and the sector that we represent has defied all other trends and continues to rapidly expand and innovate. However, we know there is a crisis, regardless of which of these gentlemen are in power by the summer. We're not here to discuss why the world ended up in such a precarious state, but clearly the cost of recovery is yet to be borne, and this does affect many of us here today. Maybe this is the sort of transformation we require. Photoshop. I'm not an economist, but I remain optimistic that we've seen the worst of the recession. While some sections of the media and population appear to have already called the result of our next election, I, for one, am waiting to hear more about a genuine and sustainable recovery strategy that supports social justice. I'm tired of soundbite politics and empty rhetoric, while our various leaders and would-be leaders attempt to outdo each other on the playing fields of our lives. The use of words like transformation and personalisation and universal access are so overused that they have almost lost their meaning. They simply become tick boxes in a salesman's PowerPoint slide, or lost in a committee meeting of Quango representatives and corporate lobbyists. So let's demand some transparency now that we are public shareholders in the biggest national debt that our generation has ever experienced, and one that will affect future generations to come. If we accept that education is a solution to global problems, then we face an uncertain future against a political backdrop that simultaneously understands the vital importance of universal access, yet is driven to make swathing cuts in public services by certain sections of the media opposed to the world in which our learners inhabit today and are expected to grow and compete tomorrow. After 5 years, I sense that this may be one of the most important handheld learning conferences to date, where a tipping point has been reached, where the pervasiveness of inexpensive technologies that can provide access to learning have been rapidly adopted by large parts of society, driving economies of scale that can benefit the rest. The mobile phone, entertainment, and social media technologies that bind us together indicate a crossroad that we have reached. Now is our greatest moment. Transformation is no longer an option, it is a necessity, and there's never been a better time for us to demonstrate and evidence the benefits of embracing the platforms adopted by our learners rather than harness, like a horse with blinkers, technology like it was something to be scared of. While our governments consider where cuts are to be made and explain exactly what they mean by frontline services, perhaps now is also the time to consider the relationship between trade associations and agencies that have ensured that in many cases, and at a significant premium, the world inside our places of learning often bear little resemblances to the world outside. Perhaps we should be thinking less about trade associations and more about learning associations for the benefit of learners. How can we possibly afford to ignore what is staring us in the face? Perhaps now is a time when savings can be made by allowing learners to bring their own tools to school, whilst providing a balanced social system for those who have little. As a conference about learning, we are here to learn from our colleagues, both in scheduled talks and sessions, as well as all the important ad hoc meetings about how mobile, gaming and social media technologies are enriching, improving and transforming learning. The mobility of learning is, in my opinion, the key, setting learning free and allowing it to happen when and wherever one happens to be and whatever platform is relevant. But clearly, we are moving to a world where at least one of those platforms will be in the palm of the hand. At this point, those of you familiar and have been following the handheld learning conferences over the past few years will know that it's time, and my personal indulgence, to have a glimpse into the world of Handheld Learning Girl. Does everyone remember Handheld Learning Girl? Little muscle. Yeah, thank you. Come on, can we have some, it's difficult, I can't see you see. Handheld Learning Girl is my youngest daughter, who was born days before the first ever Handheld Learning Conference. In fact, she was born in the middle of all the delegate bags that my wife and I were stuffing at the time. So apologies for whoever got the delegate bag that was a little bit messy. The midwife didn't show up on time. So, you know, does conferences, delivers babies. Very skilled in my CV. Hopefully I will be able to retire by the time I'm 80, according to David Cameron. Sorry. So each year, what we do at this conference is we sort of track her development and show little videos about what she's been doing. So by the second Handheld Learning Conference, we showed a picture of her at one using an iPod, and she was, you know, pre-literacy, but obviously with symbolic memory, being able to switch between tracks on an iPod accurately, and she was switching between, you know, Disney and Raffi. And trust me, there's more on my iPod than Disney and Raffi. Okay. So she had managed to work that out, and so that was pretty cool. And then the next year she'd got used to, again, pre-literacy, teaching a dog how to sit, stay, roll over, and so on, using a Nintendo DS, and that was her world. And then the year after, we found that she and her older sister played better and argued less when they met each other in Club Penguin in a virtual world. So this is really at a parent. So let's just see where she's at. Coming along now, age 4, which will be 4 on Friday, so we can do a happy birthday for her then. So here she is, and this is with her iPhone, because so that you remember from previous ones, one of the things she always wanted was an iPhone. This is a hand-me-down iPhone, basically. And it occurs to me there's like 50 million iPhones out there, and every time there's an upgrade, we all upgrade our iPhones. What happens to the old ones? Couldn't this be used as a program to support learning, where they're handed down and used? I don't know. Maybe Apple should think about that.
Squigging soon. Keep on squigging. Yes. What? Ta-da! Look. I didn't take it to the bum. Not me.
Did you take these yourself?
I didn't do that.
Which one did you do? You did all of them.
So this is her with her iPhone. I mean, she's been using this for a little while now, and she's really into all the little applications and the e-books and all that kind of stuff, and she's figured out how to use the whole thing. She's never been told how to do that, of course. The camera has become a big thing for her now, as you can tell. I mean, you've now seen photographs of pretty much all of my house, and you can see how messy I am. But hey, ex-music industry, what do you expect? But the other morning, actually, she woke me up and quite early because she had access to my iTunes account and had been busy downloading stuff from the App Store. And she's totally sussed the App Store, by the way, and I think her criteria was whether she liked the icon. So I'm just looking forward to my iTunes receipt that'll come through shortly. But it sort of indicates how, obviously, I mean, technology is something that happens after you're born, right? This is just something that is oxygen to her. This is normal. Let's hope that when, you know, she's in nursery now and reception, let's hope that she'll be able to take some of this technology with her to school and use it, because it's far more powerful than the technology they have there at the moment. And some progressive schools are doing this. Now, what's interesting to me is that if she goes on to do a master's or PhD, she'll probably leave full-time education around about 2030. Certainly a child born today will be leaving school at around that time. This is why I was so interested to invite futurist inventor Ray Kurzweil to close our conference tomorrow. Ray foresees that by 2030, computer technology will have reached human-level artificial intelligence. And before we think that, oh yeah, right, we've been hearing about the Jetsons for ages, Ray is someone who has been very good at predicting the future and even inventing some of it. And I tend to believe anyone who's when the singularity is near, he's got some very compelling evidence to suggest that by the time that these children will be leaving school and full-time education, they will have a mobile handheld device that is sentient. And we need to think about what that means for transformation, while we consider what transformation really means, and we have less than 21 years to figure out, if the prediction is correct, how we will educate ourselves and our children. On that note, I would like to take this opportunity to thank this year's supporters, Nintendo, Apple, Bechtle, for their vision and willingness to enable an unfettered dialogue to take place. That's quite rare, to have organisations that will support you and then stand back and let you do your event without trying to change editorial programme and so on. So I really do genuinely thank those organisations for the support and vision that they have shown. It shows a lot of security in their own ability. I thank our exhibitors here, who are leaders in their field and are wise enough to see the value of a dialogue before trading. So let's have the conversation, let's discuss, let's open up and so on before we try and flog you stuff. I thank our speakers and contributors who have made this the most diverse and ambitious programme in our history. Of course, it hasn't finished yet, so we'll just see how well that's worked out, won't we? By Wednesday, sorry. And finally, I would like to thank all of you here for choosing this conference. I wish you a most stimulating and rewarding event, and one that I hope will inspire your future work moving forward. Thank you very much.